My honour to introduce the longest serving party leader in Westminster. He is the leader of the effective opposition in Westminster. He's the leader of the SNP in Westminster. Please welcome Angus Robertson.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming along. Whether you're decided, whether you're still considering how you're going to vote, we have a number of weeks, if not months, in a time during which you can make up your mind about how you're going to cast your vote. But we thought that we would start the ball rolling as early as possible by holding an event where I would lay out my stall on why I believe I should become the Depute Leader of the SNP. Got to be very careful to say Depute and not Deputy. If any of you have been following the debate in social media, there's lots of people being correcting one another's grammar and description of the job title. But as Nathan outlined, I plan to speak for a short while and then give you, the members who've come along, the opportunity to ask questions, and I will be staying around after that, after catching up with some colleagues from the media who are very interested in the Depute Leadership contest, and then happy to meet up with you individually after the formalities have ended. So I'd like to begin by drawing your attention to the fact that a quite remarkable series of events have changed our country in the space of only 1 month. The future that we face of being outside the European Union and isolated from the world is a future that Scotland did not vote for. It brings much uncertainty, but the future is also redolent with opportunity for Scotland, opportunity for our party. In the days following the EU referendum, it was our First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, who showed that she had a plan to protect Scotland's place in the EU and the benefits of social protection, of economic cooperation and free movement that accrue from our membership. Our First Minister also showed leadership, and as a party we must now elect a part of that leadership team to support our First Minister and leader of our party as she seeks to protect the express will of the people of Scotland. Friends, it's my privilege today to outline to you my vision of how I can contribute to the leadership of our party and country, to engage our grassroots members across Scotland and help them realise the change that they want to see, and yes, to contribute to a reinvigorated effort to persuade the people of Scotland that only with independence can we realise our country's full potential. In the next weeks, you will have the opportunity to elect a new Depute Leader of the SNP. And I'm really pleased that there are a number of very talented colleagues who will take part in this positive contest. And by raising ideas, we will all be contributing to the progress of the SNP-led Scottish Government and Scotland as a whole. No doubt you will want to assure yourselves that your first vote, because of course it's PR that we use in our internal elections, that your first vote goes to who you believe has the appropriate skills, a proven track record, and the ability to deliver. And I believe that I do, which is why I am running to become the Depute to our leader and First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon. I joined the SNP here in Edinburgh as a teenager in the 1980s, and like many of you, I've campaigned for the SNP over decades, which were more challenging than they are now. And like many of you, I started as a leafleter, a canvasser, a branch office bearer, a member of our youth wing, a member of our student wing. I travelled, like many of you, to by-elections. And even when I worked abroad as a journalist for a decade, I came back every election to volunteer. In 2001, I was very fortunate to be elected to Westminster as a Member of Parliament for Murray. I never cease taking the opportunity to say home to more than half of all of Scotland's malt whisky production. Visit it soon, please. Shortly after the election in 2001, together with like-minded colleagues in the SNP, we started discussing how the party could win not just seats, but win elections nationally, which is why I called together many colleagues who you now know to be playing leading roles for the party in the Scottish Parliament, in Westminster, in the European Parliament, and in our party headquarters at a meeting at the Craigellachie Hotel in Speyside, and subsequently 2 further Craigellachie conferences, which were organised to work out how it would be for the SNP to go from a party of decades of existence but never having won a national election and transition from opposition to government. And I had the good fortune shortly after that initial Craigellachie conference to be put in the position of running the party's national campaigns as campaign director for the SNP in the run-up to the 2007 Scottish Parliament elections. And together with a very talented team, we helped the SNP become an electable, victorious party of government. I had the very good fortune to then be reappointed as the SNP's campaign director in the run-up to the 2011 Scottish Parliament elections, and it was a huge success to help secure the return of a minority SNP administration as a majority SNP government. And during this time, I served as the SNP's business convener. It's a job that is effectively party chairman, chairing the National Executive Committee, chairing the annual National Conference, chairing the policy-making forum, which is National Council. I'm one of only 3 people in the SNP who has held this role, and it gives me a real insight into how the party works, how it's developed from a much smaller organisation to the mass membership organisation of today, and what changes are required going forward. The Depute Leader of the SNP has an important job, working closely with the leader as a team, working with the party and our members, and bringing us closer to our aim. And that's why I believe there are 3 key themes to this campaign. They are leadership, grassroots, and independence. These are our priorities and what I want to speak to you about today. I've been fortunate to learn a lot about leadership over the last year, leading a very, very talented group of MPs, the largest ever team of SNP MPs in Westminster. We've gone from 6 to becoming the 3rd largest party in Westminster. I'm very, very proud of our team. They have achieved so much, from Joanna Cherry defending human rights and opposing the Tory obsession with repealing the Human Rights Act. It was the SNP's effective opposition on the subject that led Theresa May to claiming there was no longer the parliamentary majority to introduce a British Bill of Rights. Ailey Whiteford has been effectively leading a team of MPs who've been expertly opposing the UK government's so-called welfare reforms. So much so that it's been the SNP that forced the government back to the drawing board on further cuts to disability budgets. We've been winning over hearts and minds in England too. Earlier this year, a 4th-year medical student tweeted me to thank the SNP for leading on the junior doctors row in PMQs. And it was Philippa Whitford, who was on the picket lines in London time and time again, speaking up for a true public health service. Our MPs have been consistent. We've provided the leadership, whilst Labour has had none. And now more than ever, Scotland needs those strong voices in Westminster. Theresa May, as Home Secretary, was responsible, and we should never forget it, for the introduction of the xenophobic go-home vans and posters. As Home Secretary, police numbers down south went down as crime figures went up. And if it wasn't for the SNP leading the campaign to stop her, she'd be in the process of scrapping the Human Rights Act. Her first priority, believe it or not, as Prime Minister, was to have a vote on the renewal of Trident. She let Parliament sign a blank cheque, despite constant probing by me and from colleagues on the SNP benches, on just how much Trident would cost. To this day, she has not been prepared to say what the through-life costs of Trident renewal are. She's the most right-wing Prime Minister since Margaret Thatcher. Frankly, I think we need to be more ambitious about the direction that we take, not leaving it to people like Theresa May. If the EU referendum has taught us anything, it's that we should not shy away from providing better leadership than Westminster offers. The SNP has never walked the country down a garden path without a plan, and we never will. The First Minister has been clear. All options are on the table to protect Scotland's place in the European Union. But just last week, Theresa May said that options for keeping Scotland in the EU were impractical and that we've had our referendum. Well, I think we have an opportunity to show that things are different in Scotland. She's of course said that there will only be a UK approach to Brexit. She's refused to accept that for Scotland, remain means remain. And my message to the Prime Minister is this: if you ignore the expressed will of the people of Scotland, if you refuse to even consider how we might protect Scotland's place in the EU, then be in no doubt, your days as Prime Minister of a united kingdom are numbered. The next few months will be a major test for us as a party. We face the prospect of delivering a new prospectus for independence to the people of Scotland. We are truly on the brink of independence, and the campaign that comes now should be all about persuading people why our vision for Scotland is the right one. The SNP Depute Leader has a big role in order to make this happen, developing our policy, our strategy and our tactics to win. My plan for delivering our collective goal as a party will bring together our supporters, our members, our activists and our elected members to have the serious conversations about what we, not just the party, but as a people of Scotland, can deliver with independence. Just look at Diageo, an employer in Scotland that previously urged their staff to vote Remain in the United Kingdom. With a positive vision for Scotland, they've now said that they won't argue for Scotland to remain in the UK in the event of a second referendum. We need to take a truly positive message to those who have previously not supported independence. We must go out and tell them that they are welcome in our movement. It's the only way that we will win independence. So my message in the Depute Leadership election campaign is we need to be outward facing, not just speaking to the 45%, but speaking to the 100%, to everyone in Scotland. We do need to remember the fundamental argument for independence will never change. Put simply, the people best placed to make decisions about Scotland are the people that live and work here. But the world has changed so much since 2014. There has been a definitive change in circumstances, and we must now put together a new prospectus that reflects our shared values. We have a choice. We can let others make decisions about us, or we can insist on our own priorities. We've already seen the power of a grassroots movement. When I started the ball rolling on developing local activist groups well ahead of Yes Scotland being initiated, I never imagined what would follow. Local campaign groups, sectoral groups for women, for LGBT people, trade unionists, disabled people, farmers, teachers, and so many more. Our movement has thrived because of an organic coming together of people for a common cause. And our party has been able to benefit from that too. 120,025 members, as of last week, a remarkable number. Let me say that, 120,025 members. We have a record number of branches, and what that has delivered, you may ask yourself, a record number of elected members that are helping to deliver real change for our country, whether at Westminster, in the Scottish Parliament, in the European Parliament, and in our council chambers next year. It's striking how our activists continue time and time again to rise to the occasion of election after election. Today our activists are reaching out to EU citizens resident in Scotland to explain how valued their contribution here is. That's the kind of social responsibility we should be proud of. Now our activists, our members, you, are more important than ever, because our next job is to communicate with the many people who believe their 2014 referendum vote was to stay in Europe by voting no to Scottish independence. They are right to feel cheated. They are right to feel betrayed. And after that, we need to speak to those many people who thought they were voting for certainty over risk. Since 2014, it's the UK that's become the risky option. And since the Brexit vote, this is about to get much, much worse. We need to take our new prospectus to the streets to make sure that we can deliver the best for Scotland. But good leadership, ladies and gentlemen, in a political party means accepting the time for change. And I believe that after our massive surge in membership, we need to keep pace with the needs and expectations of the party as a whole. Given our enhanced campaigning abilities, we need to have the best infrastructure connecting the grassroots with the party nationally. Given that in past decades the party had a paid national organiser, it seems logical that we should have full-time organisational capability covering all of our regions, not just urban Scotland, but also rural Scotland. We need to cover all of Scotland, supporting our activists to deliver the best results. Thank you. I'm also committed to a better information interface for SNP members and activists. It's sometimes difficult, even for long-standing SNP members, to navigate through the way the party works, from policy making to its organisation. I remember feeling exactly the same when I first joined. Now, the party has much improved communications with its members now than when I first became involved, but there is more that we can do. And I believe that we can provide members with all the answers needed from the party in one simple place: interactive, sharing best practice, utilising new technologies to deliver a platform that can help us grow, develop the skills of members and win even more. At our national conference, which is our most important democratic decision-making body, members will be asked to mandate an internal review of our structures, our rules and our procedures. The Depute Leader will play an important role in this process, and I want to make sure that this internal review fully allows members, our branches, our prospective council candidates, everyone, the chance to feed in to the proposals before they come back to conference for debate, for amendment if that's needed, and for approval. I do believe that such a review shouldn't be taken hastily, but it's not my job here as a candidate to dictate to you what the outcome should be. It's for you to decide. While I'm here as a candidate to join our party's leadership team, leadership in this process must be focused on delivering the views of members across the party. It's only through listening and developing that our party will continue to strengthen our base and to win elections. But 120,000 of us didn't join the party just to deliver election wins or even independence. We joined to build a different Scotland, a Scotland with a stronger economy, a Scotland that looks after everyone, a Scotland that is the best place to grow up in. And I believe that we all joined the party not to debate internal structures, but to look at what we can actually do to make all our lives better. People joined our party because they have a radical vision for Scotland where there is no contradiction between the priorities of economic prosperity, of successful business, and our vision for social justice. You will no doubt have your own radical ideas to make Scotland better. I have some of my own too. In order to deliver social justice, I believe that we need to ensure that people have an income that keeps them above the poverty line. I want the party to look at how it can implement new and exciting policies in an independent Scotland that can do just that. I want to look at our international friends and bring back mechanisms and good ideas to support everybody in our society. Our system, sadly, is dogged with Westminster failings, and I want to work with colleagues to ensure that Scotland becomes a country where people are genuinely able to reach their full potential whilst ensuring that there is properly functioning social protection for all. I believe in building our infrastructure too, and as a rural MP, I believe in building better infrastructure, both digital and physical. Our government is committed to 100% superfast broadband coverage, and that's a great thing. It'll help businesses and communities thrive throughout the length and breadth of Scotland. But progress on our main arterial roads, like the A9 to the north, and also our routes to the rural south, are also massively welcome. But there is more that can be achieved in the decades ahead. We've never been in a better position to deliver radical change. So, friends, fellow party members, I relish the days and months of this Depute Leadership campaign ahead of us. Just like the independence referendum of 2014 showed that Scotland was alive with democratic debate and engagement, let the SNP Depute Leadership contest of 2016 show that our party is brimming with ideas for Scotland and for the world. My vision couldn't be clearer. Leadership, grassroots, independence. These are my priorities. I hope they are our shared priorities. If you want to ensure that our party in Scotland has the leadership it needs to protect its place in the EU, then join me. Join with us. If you want to ensure that our members are engaged and contributing their talent and ideas, then join me. Join us. And if you want to help take our message to the people of Scotland that only with independence can we release our potential, then join me. Join us. I'm Angus Robertson, and I'm asking for your support to become Depute Leader of the SNP. Thank you very much.